You, but I am a buzz. All right, so take all of that fabulous vibration, the freedom you felt by it, just purging whatever that was sticking to you, and find that solid place within. Go a little deep with it. So this one is, we are climbing Jacob's ladder. So it's a little bit of a storytelling, but see if you can take, just like we visualize that letting go, this one's about climbing higher. So take a minute, sit with that for a sec. We are, that's not where I want to be. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. Children of the one. Sing that with me now. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. Children of the one. Every rung goes higher, higher. Every rung goes higher and higher. Every rung goes higher and higher. Every rung goes higher and higher. Children of the one. Rising, shining, give God glory. Rising, shining, give God glory. Rising, shining, give God glory. Fill it up. Rising, shining, give God glory. Children of the one. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. 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 Children of the one.
Dos gardenias para ti, con ellas quiero decir, te quiero, te adoro, mi vida. Ponles toda tu atención, que será tu corazón y el mío. Dos gardenias para ti, que traerán todo el calor de un beso, de ese beso que te di, que jamás encontrarás en el calor de otro querer. A tu lado vivirán y se abrirán como cuando estás conmigo, y hasta creerán que te dirán te quiero. Pero si un atardecer las gardenias de mi amor se mueren, es porque han adivinado que tu amor me ha traicionado y que existe otro querer. tu lado vivirán y se abrirán como cuando estás conmigo. Y hasta creerán que te dirán te quiero. Pero si un atardecer las gardenias de mi amor se mueren, es porque han adivinado que tu amor me ha traicionado, porque existe otro querer. Es porque han adivinado que tu amor me ha traicionado, porque existe otro querer.
Thank you. We are blessed, yes? So, as I mentioned, Reverend Karen is away this weekend. Our guest speaker this morning is Reverend Michael Brooks. And so Reverend Michael is an ordained unity minister since 2007 who comes from a diverse background. He was raised in a Catholic family of 5 children where alcoholism was no stranger. He has sought God in a variety of places, including the Association for Research and Enlightenment, Buddhism, Taoism, and AA. He is the co-founder of Unity Awakening Ways with his wife, Reverend Megan Smith Brooks, and is a senior dog trainer, mentor, and American Kennel Club evaluator. He loves to talk metaphysics and spirituality and not only thinks out of the box, but prefer to get rid of the box altogether. Please join me in a warm welcome for Reverend Michael.
I'm going to leave this on just in case it doesn't go very well. First I want to thank all of you. You make this rock. Roll and remember, thank you. What a great music team you have. And thank you, Diane, for making my appearance here feasible. I was driving around up and down this street trying to find this place, and she finally guided me in with the flags, and I landed my Prius right out front, so that was good. And thank you, Karen, wherever you are, for inviting me to speak to this group. I have to admit that I'm a little rusty. Haven't been doing a lot of this since COVID, you know. And so I'm trying to, kind of get my feet back underneath me. So, if this goes well, my name is Reverend Michael Brooks. If not, Karen Lindvig asked me to do this. But most of all, I want to thank those of you who knew I was going to be here and came anyway. Because I think this is a wonderful opportunity for anyone to come to this great city and this magnificent community and the spirituality that permeates the very being of this beautiful sound and the beautiful mountains and all that is here, because I'm kind of new to this. So, that being said, I guess I'll just let you know what's going on with me. Fruit is what we were talking about last week. Do you remember that? We're talking about fruit. And I'm kind of like, what's the deal with all the fruit? You know, what is with this thing with fruit? And are we not the fruit of our parents and the fruit of God? And that makes us fully human and fully divine. Does it not? Are we not fully human and fully divine? I'm going to break my own rules here. So I will say this to that. Back in the day, I'm talking about a long time ago, when I was just a kid, God gave strict orders to Adam and Eve that this fruit was not to be touched. It was the fruit that was on the tree of knowledge. The tree of knowledge, as if God didn't want us to know the truth. The truth about who, and more importantly, what we are. And so, as I look back to this, I wondered if God, in her infinite wisdom, didn't know that those two characters were going to take a bite out of that apple anyway. They all knew. They were going to give in. They were going to give in to that temptation of tasting the fruit of the tree of knowledge, the tree of truth. And maybe, just maybe, that metaphysically, they were trying to entice the part of us that says, grow, reach, move to a higher place, to a more meaningful place, to the place where we can know the truth. Because a little later on in that same volume of books, it says, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So, as I said in my little bio, if you read it, it says, knowledge is knowing that a tomato is fruit. Wisdom, however, is knowing not to put tomatoes in a fruit salad. So there are several fruits out there, and I'm making this point because I know that we're all different. We're all the fruits of something. And so I will say that some fruits I didn't know that were fruits, like avocados are fruits. Did you know that? Yeah, there you go. Something to take home to your kids. Cucumbers, fruit. Squash, pea pods, olives are fruits. And even eggplants are fruits. So I didn't know these things. Did you know these things? As we don't know these things, we start to say, oh, I wonder what else isn't a fruit or is a fruit. So I will tell you a little bit about my journey, as it came as no surprise that when I find things out that I didn't know before, I come to the realization that I don't know everything. And I found out that I know very little. And I found out that what I must do is continue to ask questions. As the great spiritual leader Krishnamurti would say, question everything. Question it all. So we were singing that great song. I got into it so heavy in the very beginning, that I am as God created me. And a couple of years ago, I looked at myself in the mirror and I told God he didn't do a very good job. Because there were things about me that I wanted to change. There were things about me that I wanted to fix. There were things about me that needed to change and that needed to be fixed. And so I am as God created me on a spiritual level. Just in my spiritual form, my spiritual foundation. But I am also God in manifestation. As Fillmore said, we are individualized expressions of God. And as we are individualized expressions of God, we must take responsibility for I am. Because that's what we are, is the I am. We are a ceaseless, restless, creative force in this universe. And we help create our experience. So, before any fruit can be harvested, the seed must be planted, the tree must be tendered, the flowers must burst forth, and even when the fruit is there, we must wait for it to ripen before it's edible, before we can gain nourishment from it. So as it says, we are fruits of our parents, we are fruits of our own creation. We are the only fruit on the planet that can choose stuff, like where we want to live. Ask a peach if it can determine what tree it wants to come off of. No. That's all predetermined for them. But me, I'm from Ohio. I know. So finally, we kind of emerge from what we were to what we are. And it's the change is going on all the time. We're the only ones that can decide and make connections with relationships. Relationships are very, very important to people who are the fruits of their parents. Who do we seek out? Who attracts us? How do we feel when we're attracted? I can say that I love my wife, and I'd like you to believe that. I'd like her to believe that. But the truth is, I don't really know what love is. I'll tell you what I do know. I know that I love the way I feel when I'm with her. At least I really like the way I feel. Is it the connection that I have when I see her walk into the room and my heart skips a beat? Is that love? I don't know. It might be a physiological response to some pheromones that she's been throwing around since I walked into the room. I don't know what love is. And yet everything is supposedly made of it. It's something that I'm supposed to be able to give and in return receive. Is love putting others first before me? Is that the fruit of my existence? Possibly. So I tell people that out of all the women in the world, I picked my wife to be my partner. And then I thought to myself, well, that's not the truth at all. I picked her from all the women that lived in my continent, which cut the whole number in half, and in the country that I live in, and that cut it in half again, and in the state that I happened to be in at that time, that cut it into another quarter, and then to the age-appropriate, attractive to me people on the planet, and that cut it down again. And then those people who had something similar in the way of spirituality, which is important to me, that cut it down again. So out of the 3 or 4 other people that were left on the planet, realizing that my mother had passed away a few years ago, the choice was easy. The choice was simple. The choice was Megan. And that's the part of what I know about love. It's following your draw. It's making the mistakes. To make matters worse, this is my 3rd try. So know that if we are truly the fruits of our labors, if we are truly the fruit of God as the siblings of each other, then I see God when I see you. And hopefully you see God when you see me. Because what you think of me is not important to me or shouldn't be. What I think of you is what's important. What I think of you is way more important than what you think of me, because I can mold my existence around what I think of others. I can make my life better because of how I think of others. Now, we talk a lot about being self-loving and making sure that we accept ourselves the way we are. And I would say, accept yourself in the growing out-picturing that you have become. Do you remember Leo Buscaglia? Anybody? Thank you. Oh, nice. Okay. Well, he had a story about fruit, and since we're talking about fruit, I thought I would tell it. That, you know, we have such a hard time wanting to be loved. We want to be loved by everybody. But if you're a fruit, and according to our talks this month, it's possible, you have to realize what kind you are. And Leo talks about if you're a plum And you know in your heart that more people like bananas than like plums. What you're going to find out is that you might want to be a banana. And if you're really lucky, you might find a bunch that'll let you hang out with them. And you'll be kind of a little weird purple banana hanging out with a bunch of yellow bananas, but someday someone comes along who happens to like strange things, sees a purple banana, and says, "That's what I want." And you're being a banana, but you're really kind of purple on the inside. And at some point in time, you do a plum thing, and the banana lover says, "Ooh, that's not what I signed up for." And you lose the opportunity for love. But if you're a plum, and you dedicate yourself to be the best plum that you can be, the ripest, juiciest, purplest plum there is, if you wait, if you give it time, if you allow your expression of your plumness to express in many different ways, a true plum lover will come along. And then your relationship will be amazing. All right. So I have a little interesting piece that I want to read to you. And it has to do with being who we are in the fruits of our labor, where we come from as children of a loving God and children of our earthly parents. And it goes way, way back before words. But I'll use them to describe. This is from Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth. Earth, 114 million years ago, one morning just after sunrise, the first flower ever to appear on the planet opens up to receive the rays of the sun. Prior to this momentous event that heralds an evolutionary transformation in the life of plants, the planet had been covered in vegetation for millions of years. The first flower probably did not survive for long, and the flowers must have remained rare and isolated phenomena, since conditions were most likely not yet favorable for widespread flowering to occur. One day, however, a critical threshold was reached, and suddenly there would have been an explosion of color and fragrance all over the planet, if only there was perceiving consciousness to witness it. Think for a moment that you, before you become the fruit, must be the flower. You are part of the fragrance of life. You are part of the color that bursts onto the scene. And you bring with you the knowledge that was born of the truth of that very first apple that Adam and Eve partook in. And yet no fruit yet on the planet. After millions of years of vegetation and flowers, finally we arrive. Humankind as the fruit of consciousness. We are the only ones that can decide. We are the only ones that can choose. And what is it that we look for? The fruit of consciousness is not who you are, but what you are. Self-respect is the fruit of discipline, the sense of dignity that grows with the ability to say to ourselves, "No, thank you. Yes, I'll choose that." Remember your choices. Shape your color, your depth, your knowledge, your truth. Remember that saying yes is just as important as saying no. Yes to the silence each day in your daily meditations. Yes to the healthy choice in food. Yes to securing exercise for your body temple. Yes to make a better place today than it was yesterday. So are you a banana? Tomato? Plum? Eggplant? Doesn't matter. What you are is part of this wonderful mixed fruit salad. No matter how you show up, no matter what your predisposition is, no matter what you look like, what you feel like, how you choose to express, your journey is your own. And we get to enjoy that if we're willing to consider, what do I think of you, rather than what do you think of me? Take a moment. Fill your heart with the love that comes from the Spirit of the God that you see God in. If each one of us today would close our eyes and imagine what God would look like, every one of us would have a different picture in our mind. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate your time. Namaste.
Okay. Fruit, flowers, us, especially in the heat. What is one thing we all need? We all need water to live, to grow. So, why don't we honor water by singing this song? And this is the song in honor of Jemaya, who is the Orisha goddess of the ocean, the mother of all. Jemaya. I would encourage you to stand and dance. Misericordia, Virgen de regla, misericordia, reina del mar, para tu hija que está tan sola y necesita la caridad. Agua le pido, Yemaya Lorde, agua le pido para limpiar el caminito por donde cruzo, agua bien clara me quema ya. One more time. Yemaya. Misericordia, Virgen de regla, misericordia, reina del mar, para tu hija que está tan sola y necesita la caridad. Agua le pido, Yemaya Lorde, agua le pido para limpiar el caminito por donde cruzo, agua bien clara le quema ya. Here's the coro. Agua pa' mí, agua pa' mí, agua pa' mí, agua pa' mí, pa' mí, agua pa' mí, pa' mí, agua pa' mí. Ay, Yemaya Lorde viene hacia ti, pa' mí, agua pa' mí, ay, viene bendita, viene hacia ti, pa' mí, ay, agua bendita, agua pa' mí, agua pa' mí, ay, agua la quiero, agua así. Pa' mí, agua pa' mí. Pa' mí, agua pa' mí, pa' mí, agua pa' mí, ay, Yemaya Lorde es para ti. Pa' mí, a que le pido el agua, le pido mi agua, le pido bendita porque quiero que llueva, que se sienta rica, el agua bendita, el agua permita. Pa' mí, agua pa' mí, agua pa' mí, agua pa' mí, pa' mí, agua pa' mí, hay agua bendita, agua pa' mí, pa' mí, agua pa' mí.
Alma Viegas, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so we come now to that time to give of our tithes and our love offerings. You can give online through our website or text to give. The number is 206-350-8448. Just enter the dollar amount, really easy. If you're giving for the first time, it'll ask you for a little bit of info. And if you're here in the room, yes, we still accept checks and cash, and you can put it in the box over there. And so now we join together in prayer, and so I just invite us again to center into our hearts, just taking a breath. And so we hold in light and love and affirm the very highest and best unfolding in the lives of Mike and Diane, in Bex and Cheryl, for Chloe and Zach, Regina and Dan and Stacy, for Kosi and family. We see divine guidance, safety, and wisdom unfolding for Sabrina, for Carol, for Susan and Wes. And if there's anyone else you know in need of prayer at this time, I invite you to speak their name or hold them in your heart. Garrison family. We also hold the Ukraine and Russia and wherever there may be unrest, surrounding those places and peoples in light, calling forth the divine, that presence of God, that presence of Spirit that is always there to move in and through, to bring healing, wholeness, peace. And so it is. Amen. And so we do have prayer chaplains available to pray with you. If you're here in the room, we have Colleen and Lewis. They can meet you over on this side of the room, and we invite you to join with them in prayer if you have a prayer request. And so let us now join together in our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
That's the truth.
It is. Amen.
Let's sing a closing song together. It's been a delight this morning. There are fewer people here than there were before COVID. And what that allows us to do is really become exceptionally grateful and really eye to eye. And so I know the name of almost everybody in this room. I want to encourage you at home, if you do feel comfortable being in the room, come and do that with us next Sunday. And then afterwards, let's get together at our picnic. I just want to remind you that that's a really great opportunity to interact and play, and we'll get to tour through the new building somewhat, and we'll begin this process of rebuilding this Seattle Unity community, this in-person and extended family. Please stand as you are able. This is a closing song you may not already know. We've only done it once, but we're starting to integrate it. We will be the light, the hope, and the strength that the world needs now. It goes like this. We will be the light,